somebody said, "Hey, you can make a lot of money in insurance." I said, "Just show me how, and I'll do it. I'll run the playbook." So somebody just had to tell me what to do, and Grady just said, "Hey, dude, you just got to do this." He said, "Go sell insurance. It's that easy." I said, "That's all I got to do. I'll do it." And 3 years later, I mean, our first year we did 1.7 million of issue paid volume. Our second year, 7.8 million. This year, halfway through the year, this year we're at 7 million this year. So our goal this year is to finish 15, 20 million this year and just keep doubling over the years.
All right, everybody. Grady Polson here, Family First Life America. Beyond excited to have our special guest trainer on today, Mr. Jay Maska, who's coming to us live from Florida by way of Nebraska. I remember when I first met him, young, polished, well-spoken whippersnapper with these big, huge goals and dreams. And I was like, dude, go make it happen. And you know what he did? He went and made it happen. And now Jay is leading, if not one of the fastest growing team inside of our company, if not the industry. 100 plus people in his office every single day, getting there at 7 in the morning, doing push-ups and wall sits to get the energy pumping, and cranking premium. Last month, they did over 1.4 million issue paid in volume, means volume paid to his agent base. And he's just growing like crazy. But in my belief, it's his mindset, his determination, his willing to help, his belief in the new agent that anyone can do this if they put forth the desire and effort to devolve their skills, and at the same time invest in leads. And it's been a blast seeing what he's done over the past couple of years, and I'm stoked to see what he does for the next few. And but Jay's got a great kind of mindset on how to get agents up, running, and rolling fast. And just stoked you're able to take some time out with us today, buddy. So how you doing today, bro?
Absolutely, bro. I appreciate it. I've been doing good, dude. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, Jay, for those that don't know you, and if they follow you on social, they're going to quickly fall in love with you, or they're not going to like you so much. And that's okay. In your mind, is love me or don't. But either way, we're going to keep going. And I think
Absolutely. So, I mean, I started insurance when I was 19. I think I texted Grady 2 years ago. We did a Zoom, or maybe 3 years ago. And what's funny is everything I preach on the Zoom that we did 3 years ago, Grady, I still do it to this day. Wake up at 4 a.m., read the Bible, go to the gym. I still repeat that to this day. So that's what's beautiful about the industry and getting good at it, is just consistency over a long period of time and doing the small habits consistently, and being disciplined at the small habits will get you the big results.
amen, bro. So give us who is Jay? Where is Jay? Where are you originally from? What got you into insurance? And then YFFL. I mean, that's kind of become obvious, but what keeps you crushing, man? But give us let's go back a little bit for those that don't know you and haven't watched your meteoric rise over the past few years.
Absolutely. So I started when I was 19 in insurance, was at a captive agency for 6 months, found FFL. But before insurance, I was living in my buddy's attic. Like, Grady's like, "Yo, what job did you have before insurance?" I'm like, "I didn't have a job. Like, I never had a job." He's like, "No, dude, you had to have had a job." I was like, "No, no, no, I didn't. I lived in my buddy's attic." So I lived in my buddy's attic, found insurance, moved to Chicago, was at a captive agency for 6 months, came over to FFL, got rolling like right away. Protected 93 families in my first 3 months. After it took me a month to get my contracts, but after that, got protected 93 families my first 3 months. Was running in home, so door to door, booking appointments, finding any in which way to make it work. Finally, over the last year and a half, we went over into virtual sales, started getting into offices and getting people pumped into offices. So, I mean, my story is as simple as it gets. I was just young and grew up broke my whole life. I'm 23. My dad's 85. So somebody said, "Hey, you can make a lot of money in insurance." I said, "Just show me how, and I'll do it. I'll run the playbook." So somebody just had to tell me what to do, and Grady just said, "Hey, dude, you just got to do this." He said, "Go sell insurance. It's that easy." I said, "That's all I got to do. I'll do it." And 3 years later, I mean, our first year we did 1.7 million of issue paid volume. Our second year, 7.8 million. This year, halfway through the year, this year, we're at 7 million this year. So our goal this year is to finish 15, 20 million this year and just keep doubling over the years, if that makes sense.
That's awesome, bro. So you weren't like selling pest control or solar, nothing. You just were like, what were you doing in high school? Were you working? Were you
I played sports. So I originally was going to go to college for baseball and football. Was playing sports, got hurt, dropped out. I think I dropped out of two or three colleges my first semester, not my first year, like my first semester. Dropped out of like two or three colleges. And then I was like, yeah, this just isn't for me. And got into sales. And to be honest with you, I didn't make my first sale. It took me 2.5 months in the industry as a whole to make my first sale. So when I was at my captive company, I had $50 last me with some help sometimes, but I had $50 basically last me like 2.5 months. So it was crazy to me. Was yeah, it took me 2.5 months to make my first sale. We had our agency meeting today, and I was talking to everybody. He's like, yeah, I made my first sale, my first day, my first week, my first 2 weeks, and everybody obviously looks up to me and my leaders. And I'm like, you guys don't even know how bad I was. Like they should have told me to quit. I was that bad.
Yeah, and I mean that's the culture we're creating is this sort of rapid pace, fast culture because of the training, because of the tools, because of lead accessibility, because of all the software opportunities that there exist right now. Everything is faster. And if you reflect on that, I mean, probably when you first started, they gave you a paper script and some old leads and said, go figure it out. And you figured it out after 2.5 months. But now in this FFL nonstop model, you're able to push condensed time. And that's
It's
really
way too easy.
makes it, yeah. So it's the only problem for agents is are they going to do it or not, right? They go sell five families their first week and they have a hard time going to work the second week, right? So that's where we need
Exactly.
to keep pushing them. So okay, so let's talk about your offices, right? Because I know you opened your first office and then you've moved and opened a second office. What's kind of your philosophy behind that?
So in my opinion, so just overdoing it for so long, I view working from home. I just feel your house is meant to relax, use the restroom, watch movies, cook dinner, and just it's just meant to be there and relax. I just feel like if your house is an environment you can get distracted quickly, or if you're getting your butt kicked on the phones, it's easy just to I'm gonna turn on the TV and just watch TV for 30 minutes. Just an office, people know they're going there to work. They know they're not going there to relax and kick back and just chill out and watch a football game and dial for 30 minutes, get told to F off, and oh, I'm gonna take another 30-minute break. Then 30 minutes turns into 2 hours, and people are like, oh, I make no money. And it's like, no, you just didn't work. So the whole concept of the office is just really old school. Like the office meant to work, really good culture. Like today, we gave away 2 monitors. We did a huge raffle in the office, gave away 2 monitors, $1,000 in leads. Like we were just, it's able to feed into the environment and the energy. And you actually, in my opinion, you actually have people to rely on because you have that in-person energy with people instead of just over the Zoom. It's just like you're able to work together and grind together, and you see people around you making money. You see somebody start 2 days ago making money, and you've been here 2 weeks, and that keeps you going because you're like, all right, he's been here 2 days and he's made money. I've been here a week, haven't made any money. I know if he can do it, I can do it. It's just a better environment and a lot healthier and less liability as a business owner, especially when it comes to the insurance industry. So that was the biggest philosophy is I just think culture boosts results, and results obviously boost sales. So I just think culture boosts sales, and a healthy environment boosts sales because we're huge. Like all my leaders, they have managers chats of them waking up at 4 a.m. They send a picture in the manager's chat. Hey, I'm in the gym. Who else is up? And then there's like 10 pictures of everybody in the gym at 5 a.m. Then they meet up at the office at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. And then we do sales training at 7 a.m. The energy is just really high. No matter how much you think you're slacking or not getting results, you always have that backbone to rely on and that support system to rely on to really succeed and excel in business.
That's awesome. And so your first office was in Nebraska, right?
Yeah. So when I first opened my first office in Nebraska, I called Grady. First person I called. I said, Grady, what do I do? He goes, get something 2,000 square feet. Signed a 6,600 square foot office. And Grady's like, dude, what are you doing? I said, Grady, I plan on having 100 agents in here, dude, not 2 agents. And I signed my first office. It was God given. They're just like, here's the lease. Didn't even tell my first name. I said, I'm signing it. No credit check, no nothing. Signed it. They're like, all right, we need 12,000 for the deposit. I was like, don't have 12 grand. I'm like, give me like 2 months. I'll give it to you. They're like, okay, made it happen. It was just one of those things. You sign something, you got to make it work. Made it happen. And we went from 200,000 a month in issue paid volume to when the first month we opened the office, we went to 450,000 the next month in issue paid volume. Then after that, we went to 600,000 to 700,000. Moved to Tampa, it took like a little plateau. Then we went from in January we did 800,000, and then now we're doing at 1.5, 1.4 million now, and just keep doubling since opening the office. So it was just a huge thing for me. Is like Grady obviously had my best interest. He's like, dude, 2,000 square feet, like you don't need a lot of liability. Get a couple agents in there, and my vision was like, dude, I'm gonna have 1,000 agents, and
Love it.
I've signed 2 office spaces this month. We started with a 5,000 square foot office in January, dropped that lease in February, opened a 12,000 square foot office, filled that up in 2 weeks, and then just signed another 12,000 square foot office again in Tampa.
You
So we have
keeping them
two
all?
offices. What?
Keeping them all?
Yeah, keeping them all. Yeah. So we have about 40,000 month in office expense rent, and it's the best thing in the world, best investment ever.
There's no one doing what you're doing. There's no one doing that. That's a differentiating factor, right? I believe this will work, and so I'm going to do it. And you believe in it, and it's working. And then when you speak that into your people, they've got no reason but to doubt you. And then you show up, you're there, your people are there, we're focused. I mean, I love it, Jay. That's just that you do what others won't do, so you can soon have what others won't have. And this is
Absolutely.
so. Do you still have the office in Nebraska?
No, I had to pay 70 grand to buy out of it.
Just this is it's a tax deduction. It's a tax deduction. So,
Exactly. Sean's like, hey, dude, the market in Tampa is growing. Move down here. And literally a week later, moved everybody down, got Airbnbs. It took a lot longer than I thought to get an office. I thought it was like Nebraska where they just hand out leases like candy. Got to Florida, they're like tax returns, bank statements. I'm like, okay, this might take a while. It took 3 months of everybody being in an Airbnb. And that's where we plateaued, guys, is working from home. Working from the Airbnb is where we plateaued. And then we opened the office and then just boom, just double, 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 double. So that was the biggest thing is of the office culture is what will succeed. Everybody tells me, hey, Jay, what do? I say, open an office. That's my biggest advice to anybody is open an office, hire people locally, get them in the office, surround around a culture, have a good schedule, and just be there in a support a system that works.
what is your office schedule? Is it 7 days? Is it 7 to 9? I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
like
So
what do you like? What do you guys do throughout the day? Do you break it up at certain times and like everyone takes a walk, or like what do you do in your office?
absolutely. So our schedules, we changed it to 8 a.m. sales training. So 8 a.m. sales training, 12 o'clock is lunch, 12 to 3 is lunch, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. is dials. So that's just our culture and our standard. And it's like, hey, if you don't want to run that, that's fine. You don't have to. It's probably best you either work from home or find another agency. Just because we have that standard of we want to build business owners. We don't want insurance agents. Like as much as it sounds, guys, like you find the passive income in building a business. So that was my biggest thing is like, I don't want insurance agents. Like go work at State Farm if you want to sell insurance the rest of your life. So I was like, hey, I want business owners. And we all came to agreement like, hey, let's run this schedule. This is what's going to work. And we've been running that schedule since Nebraska. So for the last year and a half, we've been running that same schedule. So that was the biggest thing that propelled us was sticking to that schedule and sticking to that standard.
So 8 a.m. sales, is it 30-minute, 1 hour? How long is the sales training?
30 minutes to an hour sales training. Sometimes we'll do like a hot seat during lunch if people are sticking around, stuff like that. We'll do an
About 9
extra.
to noon. Then 12 to 3, handle your affairs. Call the carriers. Go hit the gym if you didn't do it early.
Yeah.
Go to grocery shopping and get it home and come back. And then we're back dialing from 3 till 7 or till whenever the job is done. If you're calling back east, you're calling back West
And
Coast.
And there's times where like I'll buy pizza once a week for the office once in a while, and we'll dial Hawaii and Alaska leads. We have people like yesterday. I stayed in the office till 10 o'clock yesterday. We had people closing deals at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. Last night, and they were dialing Hawaii and Alaska leads. One guy was on an IUL sit at 11 p.m. in Pennsylvania time. It dripped in an IUL lead, and he called it in Pennsylvania. It was like $2,800 deal. And it was 11 p.m. Pennsylvania Eastern time. So same time, got on a FaceTime with the client, closed them down. And how I always look at it is the longer you stay late, let's say you only close one deal a week and you stay in and it's a $2,800 commission check and you do it just once a week. That's an extra $100,000 a year gross. Just because you stayed one day out of the week late, extra deal, $2,000 a week. That's an extra $100,000 a year gross that you'll make by just staying that one day late or one day on Zoom late at 10 p.m. If you can make one sale late for $1,800, $2,000, that's an extra $100,000 gross a year that you'll make just by putting in that time and making that sacrifice.
So I couldn't agree more, man. It's awesome. If you were, no, as you are, not if you were, new agents, what are you getting them started on? What's the kind of new agent launch plan? I know you've kind of got, you had an incredible training. Jay just spoke on live in Vegas 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in front of 1,000 people at our Ignite sales conference in Las Vegas. Absolutely crushed it. And I was like, hey, dude, will you please expand on the stuff you went over there? And there was, you covered stuff on that call. I'm sorry, from stage, but then at the same time, I know you want to cover that. But then what are some, like, as we're digging into new agents and getting them up and running, what are you getting them started on leads? Is it like, hey, go do your first 50 dials and let's go through your script? Hey, go do 500 dials. Let's go through your script. What does your new agent launch plan look like? Because if with as much growth as you're happening, I know you're just launching people like crazy. What does that look
Yeah,
like?
so my biggest thing, guys, is I'm huge on like I know I'm gonna make money in the future. So I'm huge on investing. So most of the time I'll cover agents' lead spend for 2 weeks or a month or so, just depending on how they do and if they show up to the office on time. So that really propels them. But the biggest thing is we run sales training with them. We'll do sales training once a day with them. And then literally that hour we'll go over the script and then they're on the phones the first day. Like they're like, hey, what products do I need to know? I'm like, whole life lasts forever, term doesn't. Great. That's all I need to know. I'm like, yep, go get on the phones. And they're like, are you sure that's all I need to know? I'm like, I promise. Don't overcomplicate it. Get on the phones, e-app training. Like, what if I don't know how to fill out an e-app? Grab a manager, grab somebody in the office. They'll show you how to do it. I'll come into my office. I'll sit down with you, show you how to fill out the e-app. But first, you need to get somebody on the phone to even fill out an e-app. So get somebody on the phone and then start worrying about an e-app. Don't worry about an e-app if you don't even know how to sell. So if you don't know how to sell, then you won't even ever find a way to get to the e-app. So I'm like, figure out how to sell. So get on the phones today. I'm huge on like jumping on the cliff and learning on the way down. Everybody's like, oh, I got to spend time doing this, and that, 8 different things. I have to get all my carriers in before I dial, stuff like that. I'm huge on you got one contract in, great. We're getting you on the phones. We're making your first sale today. And that's what I'm big on is making their first sale, writing down their rebuttals, going over the rebuttals at the end of the night, going over the rebuttals during the day, stuff like that. So that's the biggest thing is one, we show them how much we spend for them on leads. So we'll say, hey, we just gave you $100 for leads. They'll make 2 sales. I'm like, that's what your ROI you will expect if you invest in the leads. I invested blank amount into you. You just closed a $2,000 deal. Your advance is $1,200. This is what you can expect to make after chargebacks. This is what you can expect to make on your investment on leads. So now they're comfortable buying leads because they saw me spend $100 on them. They saw themselves make a $1,200 commission check. Now they're comfortable spending leads because they know it works. They know it works. They saw me invest $100. They saw them make a sale. They're like, okay, I'm more comfortable investing leads when it comes that time for them to invest in the leads. And we're huge on collecting referrals. We're huge on 3 referrals per set. So if people complain about leads, okay, if you want to complain about leads, go buy 1 lead pack and every 2-3 closes, collect 3 referrals. So you don't have to complain about buying leads.
2 questions. What lead are you buying them? What kind of leads are you buying them for the $100? And then what is your referral script you teach? Because that will help everybody on this call right now.
Absolutely. So we buy in bronze leads, bronze and silver leads for the first 100 leads. We do that for a month. So we get them into bronze and silvers. The goal is for the agent to save $5,000 or $10,000 in their first 3 months. After that, just because obviously they have bills and everything. And after that, our goal is to get them invested into high intent leads, IULs and mortgage leads. So we call it like a 90-day boot camp where we get them into lower intent leads, get their butts absolutely kicked on the phones, get them good at rebuttals and objections, then get them into high intent leads where we're able to convert higher AP per lead, stuff like that. The referral script, though, is we collect the beneficiary. Hey, we say, hey, we want to shoot the beneficiary a call, let them know what type of coverage you got. I want to make sure your son has my contact information. So if something were to happen to your son knows who to call. And I want to make sure what coverage I want to make sure they understand what coverage you have so they understand the product. And then I'm going to go over your son's life insurance options just like I went over your options, just because your options are a lot cheaper than you shopping around the open market just because I'm a broker. So since I'm a broker, I find the options a lot cheaper for you, which I'm going to help your son out because I'm assuming if you don't have life insurance, Mary, right now, your son probably doesn't have it just because parenting is leadership, right? If they're going to do what you do. And if you don't have life insurance, your kids probably don't have life insurance.
That's huge. And so you get on the phone with, you talk to Betty, you talking to John. Hi, John. I just talked to your mom, Betty. She got a policy, da 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 da. And
So I'll shoot, say Grady's a beneficiary. I'll shoot Grady a call, say, hey, Grady, I just got the phone with your mom. absolutely amazing woman. She said how great you were and how annoying you were in your early teens. Looks like you caused some hell for her. They start laughing. I'll be like, hey, I have to go over your mom's life insurance. You're the beneficiary. Here's my phone number. Here's the insurance company's phone number. Here's the product types. And Grady, your mom mentioned you have a couple kids running around the house. Is that right? Okay, perfect. And then she also mentioned you probably don't have any life insurance to make sure the kids are taken care of if something were to happen to you. What I did for your mom is I shopped around for her to find her the cheapest options. My job is, I'm not a financial advisor by any means, Grady, but my job is to break down your budget for you. I pick the option that makes the most sense for you based off how much you can afford. So by the end of the phone call, Grady, you will not have to think about anything because I choose the option for you. Therefore, there's nothing to think about. So you won't need to tell me, hey, I need to think about it, Jay. I pick the option for you because I break down your budget and decide how much out of your budget we can afford every month to put towards life insurance. So by the end of the phone call, you won't need to shop around, nor will you need to think about it because I'll make the decision for you.
Smooth, bro. Smooth. So new agents. So you said bronze and silver to get up and running till they have about 5-10,000 saved up. What do you it's easy to kick out someone who's not struggling, but what do you like? Are you going mindset coaching? Are you using culture?
Mindset.
What are you doing when they get down on themselves? They come in for 3
So
days, they dial for 8 hours a day, they don't make a sale.
So, guys, I'm huge on mindset training. Exactly what Grady said, guys, is when you join 100% commission sales, whether it's pest control, solar, life insurance, whatever it is, it's designed for you to build a business. So I tell new agents right away, you are a business owner. A business isn't profitable for 2 to 3 years. Expect that, yes, you're going to make money, but you're not going to see the financial freedom aspect of everything 2 to 3 years down the road. You're going to have to work 2 to 3 years of your life to set up the rest of your life. It's just like, would you rather, you have two choices in life. 90% of the people work for the 10%, 10% of the people employ the 90%. So you have two choices in life. You become the 90% or you become the 10% that employ the 90%. So I say, hey, you can either sacrifice 2 to 3 years of your life now and live the rest of your life financially free, or you just work for somebody else and work a 9 to 5 and have no freedom at all. And you're building somebody else's dream because they didn't give up. So I let them know right off the rip. I say, hey, Grady, you're going to hate your life for 2 to 3 years. You're going to hate it, but it's going to set up the rest of your life. I'll be like, hey, you got kids? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to spend time with them? They're like, absolutely. I'm like, all right, well, for 2 to 3 years, you're probably not going to spend a lot of time with them. But after that, I promise you, if you do this blueprint, you're going to be able to spend as much time as you want with them as possible. Because everybody's excuses, oh, I have kids, I have this, I want to spend time with them. It's like, all right, if you care about them and want to spend time with them, sacrifice 2 to 3 years of your life so you can spend the rest of your life with them. Because in my first year in business, I'm transparent. I made 200 grand. I spent 200 grand. My second year, I made 300 grand. I spent 280 grand. My third year, I finally was able to save some money. I made 750 grand, and then I netted like 120 grand. This year, I'll make about 2 million. My net will probably be about 1 million. So like, that's the biggest thing, guys, is like, I wasn't profitable for 2 years because I was dumping money back into business. Was I spending on stupid stuff? Sure, maybe 30 grand. But all of it was back into leads, back into E&O insurance, licensing, contracts, tests for the agents. It was just going right back in. And that's what people don't understand is that's what it takes to build a business. So I'm like, hey, go watch Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella made $57,000 his first 10 years in business. Not 57 grand a year, $57,000 his first 10 years in business. Now he's worth over $100 million. So it's like, guys, you got to watch people that actually built a business. Because I did a podcast with Wes Watson. Everybody's like, Jay, what did you learn? I was like, I don't learn anything because every successful person says the same stuff. It sucks. You're going to have to work hard. You have to make sacrifices. You have to be disciplined. You have to be consistent. They just say the same shit. They just say it differently. They just word it differently. Wes Watson likes to scream and yell. He just screamed and yelled, discipline, consistency, sacrifice. And like, that's the biggest thing is like, Jay, what do you learn from successful people? I'm like, dude, it's just an echo chamber, the same stuff over and over. You just have to implement it and not get emotional. So I always tell people business is 95% emotion, 95% mentality, 5% strategy. But 95% of people focus on the 5% on the strategy, 5% of the people focus on the mentality. So 95% of the time, business is just mentality. How do you look at things? Like Sean, I watched a video 3 years ago. Sean posted this. It's like, hey, when you complain, go walk to a children's hospital where there's somebody dying and go complain to that child. That child's going to die. They can't fix their life. Like they're going to die. Your complaints you can fix. How do you fix that? Go network, go to real estate brokerages, go to funeral homes, go to churches, network there. Hey, I don't have money for leads. All right, drive down the real estate brokerage. Here's my business cards if you have homeowners that need mortgage insurance. Go to the funeral homes. Hey, you deal with death all the time. Here's my business card if families need life insurance. Go to churches. Hey, if you have any people in the church that need life insurance, here's my business card. Go network. You can always do more. I could do more. Grady could do more. Everybody can do more. You can change your life. But somebody in the hospital that's dying of cancer, they can't change your life. So why are you complaining? So I just put things in perspective for people. It's like, you can change your life. They can't. You have nothing to complain about. You're in the best country in the world. You have the best opportunity in the world. Most millionaires are creating the financial service industry, but guess what? 92% of people quit. And if most millionaires are created in the financial service industry, that means it's hard. It doesn't mean it's easy. If most millionaires are created in this industry, that means it is going to be hard. If most millionaires are created in this industry, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It means it's going to be hard. So like, that's what people don't understand, is like the most successful route is going to be the hardest route. And that's what business is. Insurance is business. Everybody's like, oh, chargebacks. I'm like, any business you built will be a chargeback. The gas station industry, restaurant industry, people don't buy the right food, you got to toss it out, chargeback. People don't buy the right the chips at the gas station, chargeback, you got to throw it out. So like, people don't understand. They don't put business in perspective. Construction company, they buy the wrong lumber, they don't use it, chargeback. That's what people don't understand, is chargebacks are in every industry. You just have to put your mindset into perspective. Like, people self-sabotage yourself. Oh, I wake up, I'm tired, I'm gonna have a bad day. So when you get on the phones and people tell you to F off, now you just self-sabotage yourself, because like, yeah, I woke up late, so that's why they're telling me to F off, I'm having a bad day. It's like, you self-sabotage yourself. Because a lot of people like, Jay, I've been here a year, I make no money, I'm broke. I'm like, what did you do in the year you've been here? Did you wake up early? Did you go to the office on time? I have a 3-concept approach when it comes to building a business in the insurance industry. It's sell, hire, develop. Did you do that within your first year? Did you sell, hire, and develop? Because you got to you have to get good at sales. So did you get good at selling? 2, you have to get good at hiring people. You do not get paid to hire people. Grady did not say, here's $100, Jay, for hiring somebody. No, you don't get paid to hire people. You get paid to develop people. So you have to get good at sales. You got to get good at hiring people. Now you have to get good at developing people, because you don't get paid to hire people. You get paid to develop people. So I tell people, oh, I've been here a year, Jay, I'm broke. How many agents do you have? Oh, I have 1. I'm like, okay. How much insurance did you sell? Oh, I sold 80 grand this year. It's like, hey, bro, like, I'm not trying to be mean. You didn't work. Like, yeah, you've been here a year physically, but you haven't been here a year mentally, because you haven't put in any of the work. So people are like, oh, I've been here 2 years. I've been here a year. I make no money. It's like, what did you do with your time that you were here? Did you put in the work, or were you an opportunity shopper? Things got hard, so you started shopping for a new opportunity, and it made yourself feel productive. It made yourself feel like you were working because you were looking for another opportunity. People just self-sabotage themselves. And that's what people don't understand about building a business, is you have to be real and honest and have self-accountability in order to scale something massive and scale it faster. Every time I had to rebuild 3 times, which Grady knows, is I had to rebuild 3 times. Every time I rebuilt, I never thought about quitting. I'm like, okay, I just got better. Like, my first year, I did 1.7 million issue paid volume. Then I did 7.8 million the second year. This year, we'll do about 15 million. My first year, I sucked. My second year, I sucked. And I just kept building and building and learning and learning and learning. That was the biggest thing, is I never thought about leaving the industry. I just got better and better and better and just kept learning. Like, you have to grow through adversity. You don't learn from adversity, you grow through adversity. So like, that's what people don't understand, is when you get hit with adversity, that's your growing opportunity, not your learning opportunity. That's where you grow. And that's what people don't understand.
Dude, phenomenal. It's sell, hire, develop. You don't get paid to hire, you get paid to develop. And that's really where you see people get lost or get caught, is they bring on 3 people and those people start selling and they think they're made, right? I mean, I used to joke, I was like, I knew I've done something special when I've got 10 people that can answer questions about diabetes. Like, that's a huge, huge value, because we've developed them into having as much knowledge about carbidopa and Parkinson's and diabetes and COPD. Do you marvel at how much you know about pharmaceutical medication
Oh
now?
my God. I was talking to my buddy. He's actually in the room right now. I was talking about, I'm like, dude, I'm a damn doctor at this point. Like, they're like, hey, I'm on metformin. I'm like, okay, diabetes type 1, type 2. They're like, oh, I'm on lisinopril. I'm like, high blood pressure, hypertension. What is it? And I'm like, dude, I'm a damn doctor by now.
How many cholesterol medicines do you know by now? And how many blood thinner medications do you know? And so, like, that's part of the business too, that person learned on year 1. Now, this is the end of year 1. You wrote 80, you got 1 person. Now that can be the same, it can be less, or what it should be is you could double, triple, quadruple if you've got goals to change. And I mean, it's apparent the culture which you're creating is a culture of winners, right? We come here to win. Well, I'll listen to you complain. I'm not going to punch you in the stomach over it, but I'll listen to you. But I'm also going to tell you the truth that you didn't work, and
Exactly.
you didn't work, and that if you want me to tell you good job, you're in the wrong office, right? That's not a good job, because you go work somewhere else and make the same amount of money, have no chargeback, less stress, and make sure you get the weekends off, and Labor Day, you get paid on Labor Day. But what I want to know is, so the plan is bronze leads, we get them in, we get them selling, right? So that's sale. Then we got them to start hiring. What is that timeline for hiring? What is there a number they're going to issue in a month that you're going to go, okay, listen, now we're making a list. Let's go get your buddies from high school, from college, from your previous sales. Like, when do you turn them from a producer into a builder? What does that look like?
Right away. I do it right away. So when I first started the industry, guys, I'm huge on responsibility is what's going to make you better at sales. Think about it. If you have two people that are sitting in your office and they trust you to teach them and you don't know anything, you're naturally and psychologically going to step up. Like when I ran in-homes, I went by myself. I wrote maybe $1,000 at in-home day. But when I brought somebody else, I had to step up. I would write 5,000, 6,000 because I was sharper, because I was like, hey, he needs to think I'm the expert. He doesn't know that I'm 2 weeks new. He thinks I've been doing this for years. So I'm like, hey, I got to step up. So psychologically, when you're stressed out and have responsibilities, that's a good thing. It means you're building something of value. So I'm huge on recruiting right away, because you're going to be stressed, which is good. You're going to have responsibilities, which is good. Now that's going to make you step up. I had an agent, for an example. He's like, he wrote $5,000 for the month for like 3 months. He goes, Jay, I'm struggling. I said, dude, you haven't hired a single soul. He makes an Indeed ad, hired 14 people, brought in a dude that hired 30 people. Next month wrote $21,000 of issue paid volume, not commissions. 21,000 of issue paid volume. And I said, bro, you know what you had to do? You just had to hire people. Now you have to step up. Now you have to be intentional about your dials. Because a lot of people are like, oh, another dial day. I just got to dial the phone. They're not intentional about it. If you ask any agent in my office and you say, hey, what does Jay say before he dials a number? They say, oh, Jay says he's going to close them. They tell me to F off the next dial. I'm going to close them. Next dial, I'm going to close them. Next dial, I'm going to close them. And I had 20 F offs. So that's what people don't understand, is you have to be intentional about your dials. And when you hire people, you are definitely intentional about your dials. When you hire people, you have to show up to the office at 8 a.m. and be on time. So like that's what people don't understand, is when you actually start hiring people, your production is naturally going to go up. And a lot of people don't get, Harvard did a study, and I believe it was Harvard. You can correct me if I'm wrong. 34% or people that hang around high performers, their production goes up 34%. People that hang around people that are just in the same level as them or average, the production goes down negative 17%. So when I started, I hung around the high performers. I hung around people that were recruiting. I hung around people that were hiring or selling. And I got around the people that developed, that sold, that hired. And that's what allowed me to really excel. Is that's the biggest thing, is I just implemented it, I guess. Like I always tell people like, hey guys, just go do this. And they're like, that's all? I'm like, yeah, go do it. And then they do it for one day and like, Jay, it didn't work. I'm like, do it for 3 years straight and I promise it'll work. And that's what people fail to realize is, guys, when I say go do it, it will work, but it's going to take 2 or 3 years. There's no get rich overnight. There you go. Happy, jolly. Like, it's not like you win the lottery. There is no business where somebody made money overnight. So like that was the biggest thing, is I let every new agent know you're going to be broke for your first year. They're like, I'm going to make no money. I'm like, no, you're going to make money. It's just, if you expect to build a business, you're probably going to live paycheck to paycheck for a little bit, because you're investing into your business to grow your business. So like that's the biggest thing, is I always put in perspective for people, is I'm very transparent, because I think transparency builds loyalty. So I'm like, hey, sell, hire, and develop. You have to hire right away, because I promise you your production is going to go up. Jay, I don't know how to sell. I'm like, hey, you're going to learn. I promise you, when you have your two buddies sitting with you on the phone, you're going to learn. And that's the biggest thing for me that's allowed me to scale, is I help them hire right away, and I help them get paid right away. And I tell them like, hey, stress is a good thing. And people don't understand that, as they think stress is a bad thing. I'd rather be stressed out about making too much money than stressed out about not being able to go on my next vacation, or call my boss and say, hey, can I go watch my daughter's ballet class? Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to go watch my daughter's ballet class. I don't have a daughter, but hypothetically, I'm just like, hey, I will never quit on my dreams, because if I quit on my dreams, I'm going to get hired by somebody else that didn't quit on their dreams. And I'm going to have to ask that person, can I go watch my son play T-ball? And like, as a man, I could just never do that. I could never say, hey, can I go watch my son play T-ball? I'm just
looking up to somebody that didn't quit and I quit. That's huge, bro. That's huge. So, in all the truth, I mean, it's hard. Everything's hard, right? The easy way soon becomes the hard way, and the hard way soon becomes the easy way. It is it is easy to go find a job that will pay you a salary. It is hard to plan a grandiose financial future while doing it. It is hard to go get your insurance license, dial the phone, and figure out how to build a business. However, that becomes the easy way because you've built something that you're proud of. You've grown your skill set. You become an asset to your community, become valuable in the eyes of others. You become someone that can be trustworthy, looked up to. Transparency creates trust. I mean, it's such a great line, Jay, and it's the truth, right? It's like you can make $500,000 a year your first year in insurance, maybe, right? That's an exception, right? Let's tell people let's build our business based on rules, not exceptions. The rule is you can make a bunch of money, but the reality is you're going to have expenses getting started. You're going to have chargebacks getting started. You're going to probably want to invest in staff getting started. You're going to have initial software costs getting started. You're going to have expenses getting started. But this is a business. And if you see what's been created, you see the financial freedom that can be created that didn't come built on quicksand. It came built on bedrock and concrete and rebar. But then now you can build a huge, tall skyscraper and have 40,000 square feet office space in Tampa and create your own fantasy factory if you want to with a foam pit and you should put a foam pit in there, bro. That would be legit. But no, Jay, your message is so on point in a marketplace of mediocrity and average. And I love your passion. I love what you're doing. The simplicity is like you don't have some like checklist 19-step protocol. It's give me your phone or like, hey man, what is there a simple text you have new people when they're recruiting text out or do you send them to a video? Do you send them to a web?
So
get on a
I could tell you my DMing script. It's just there's cuss words in it because like I'm huge on like getting people to think it's an authentic DM. So
okay.
like hey, looking for a new opportunity, guys. People get DM that every single day. I'm just like, hey, Grady, I have no clue how the living hell I found your Instagram, dude. Maybe I was clicking through other people's pages. No clue how the hell I found it. I'm probably a freaking weirdo. But you look like a stud, dude. Would love to hop on a call with you. If not, dude, no worries. God bless you. Hope you have a good day. But like, I like to cuss and have fun with it. Be like, hey, dude, I saw that you played football. I used to play football too, but I wasn't good enough. I sat on the bench, so I called myself the best wide receiver on the bench. And then I would DM them that, but it didn't look like a copy and paste. It looked like something that was organic that I typed up. So like that's how I DM is I just DM where it just looks
and self-deprecating humor, which make you come across as a normal, calm person, not an arrogant guy. And you're not that. You're not in it. I mean, you've got nice things, but you also are very humble about you're nice. It's okay to like nice things. But when you communicate with people, if that's the thing that people only see you as because you're shoving in their face, that's the opposite of who you are. You're in the office before everybody else. You stay late everybody else. You're focused on them, and that creates more for you, but it also creates more for them, and that's okay because you gave them an opportunity. So when you go, I was the best wide receiver on the bench, like so that's you just make it very kind of make fun of yourself, get them to laugh, go, what's up? Who are you? And you go, oh,
exactly.
My name's Jay. I sell insurance in Florida. What do you say?
Yeah, I would say, hey, dude, would love to hop on a Zoom call with you, break down the sales opportunity with you. We just opened office, so we're looking for only about 2 to 3 people. So I don't normally DM people, Grady. I just, like I said, somehow came across your Instagram. You thought it looked like a business athlete, so I thought I'd shoot you a DM. And then hop on a Zoom, and I'm very transparent. I break down their goals with them. I only hire people that move to me. I have 0 virtual agents, but maybe 1. I hire people that move to me. So I'm very transparent. I'm like, what are your goals? I'm like, do you just want to live comfortably, be financially free, not have any worries? Like, what's your goal? And if they're like, oh, I just want to make 40 grand a year, I'm like, this is definitely not for you. Because guys, this is the easiest 6-figure job, the hardest 80 grand a year job. Easiest 6-figure job, the hardest 80 grand a year job. You'll have the most stress in your life. You'll have a heart attack. So like I always tell people, it's like if you're willing to sacrifice 2 to 3 years of your life and put in that sweat equity, this is for you. If you're not willing to sacrifice 2 to 3 years of your life, basically live paycheck to paycheck for 2 years to set up the rest of your life, this isn't for you. Like I have 3 leaders right now. They make really good money passively. And I was talking to them. I'm like, dude, 2 years ago, we were sleeping on air mattresses in my apartment where I was 2 months behind on rent. I'm like, dude, we were like 2 years ago, we were sleeping on air mattresses in an apartment and I was 2 months behind on rent. I'm like, dude, we were sleeping in our cars, running in homes. I remember we had an Airbnb and it was in the absolute ghetto. It was like an attic. And I'm like, dude, we're hearing gunshots everywhere. I'm like, dude, that's where we were at 2 years ago. I love this. And I was telling people today, they were sitting in the little lobby that we have, and they're all laughing and giggling. I'm like, guys, you have no clue how grateful you're gonna be 2 years from now looking back on it. They all live on air mattresses right now. And I'm like, dude, I miss that. Like, I miss that. Everybody's, you don't miss being broke. I'm like, maybe not being broke, but I miss that moment because that's what, like, those are the moments I miss, like sleeping on an air mattress, working 14 hours a day. Like, I just like door knocking random houses, $1,000 in chargebacks. Like, I missed that. Like, that stress was so, in that time, I didn't understand it. But now I'm like, dang, I miss that more than anything because you just got to fall in love with the journey and fall in love with the chapter that you're in.
Amen, bro. That's right. So, okay, man, you're getting them up and rolling. You got an office. Let's close it out here. What final advice you got? You got a room of new hungry agents. I mean, Jay, you just killed this call, but like, what's some final advice you've got for everybody out there that's looking at this either opportunity as they're looking at it from watching us on YouTube now over the next, all the people that are going to watch this, or you're talking to our room of agents that are, just gotten contracting and they're going, good for him. He's so well spoken and, he's passionate and, I mean, self-sabotage is a huge thief, and comparison is the thief of joy and all these things, but they got their own life. They need to decide what they want. What do you got for them as we close out this call, bro?
So my biggest thing is if you're almost about to quit or you're struggling, everybody's been there. Me, Grady, we've been there. And the most non-biased way, I'm like a logical and common sense kind of guy. We're selling something that everybody in the United States needs. Like, think about real estate agents. They need a good credit score, a stable job, 2 years of income. They have to have all these requirements. To buy a car, you need to have a good credit score, a job, all this stuff in order to sell them. Give me a heartbeat and a bank account. I can sell anybody in the world or in the United States. And in a social, heartbeat social bank account, I can sell anybody. This opportunity will never get saturated. The market inflation could go up 200%. People are still going to buy life insurance because they need it. You're in the best opportunity in the world. You just got to make the most of it and be real with yourself. Don't self-sabotage yourself. Sell, hire, and develop yourself. If you're serious about building a business, go open an office. That's my biggest advice to people is go open an office and be willing to make sacrifices. I've made millions of sacrifices, missed out on Easter, Christmas, haven't seen family in a year and a half, 2 years. Like, I made those sacrifices to get where we're at. Grady made those sacrifices. Sean, Nina, Hayden, all these people made the same sacrifices. You just got to follow in their footsteps. Grady's got to, we bleed the same bloods, breathe the same air, bleed the same blood. Like, anybody can do it. You just have to put yourself in that situation to obviously want to do and develop that mindset. Because all I cared about in business, guys, is I didn't care about what was in my bank account. All I cared about was as long as I'm selling, hiring, developing, long term, I'm gonna make it in the industry. All I cared about when I started was, are my bills paid? That's all I cared about. Are my bills paid? That's all I cared about. Because I knew if I sold, hire, and develop, long term, I was gonna make all the money in the world. Because longevity in business builds credibility. So the longer you're in business, the more you post about the opportunity, the longer you post about the opportunity, the people that are too scared to hit you up, they're going to hit you up 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road because you're credible. Business is longevity. So the longer you're in it, the more you're going to succeed. It's just how willing. I always tell people, what are you willing to sacrifice and how long are you willing to sacrifice for? So that's my biggest advice for people is ask yourself the question, do you really want to sacrifice? Because like, if you got everybody on the Zoom call and said, who wants to be successful? Everybody would raise their hand. And then it's like, okay, how long are you willing to sacrifice? Because everybody will raise their hand and then put in no work, or they'll try it for a day and then the next day they won't try it. Then the next day they'll try it. Then the next day they won't. Then the next day they will. And it's like, when are you just going to, no matter what results you get, when are you just going to put your head down 7 days a week and just try it consistently for a year? I tell people go a year all in. And if you don't sell, hire, and develop and you go a year all in and you make no money, then it's probably not for you. So like, that's my biggest advice for people is don't self-sabotage yourself. Get around the right people. Do not take advice from people that are struggling. My biggest advice for people is a lot of people associate themselves with people that are struggling. Therefore, there's a negative conversation. Because if I struggle on the phones and Grady struggles on the phones, we're just going to say, yo, the leads suck. Like the leads suck, blah, 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 blah. Because we're feeding into each other's reality. But when you go to talk to somebody like me or Grady and you're like, hey, I'm struggling, we're going to say, hey, I struggled just like you did, but you got to do this, this, and that. Did you write down your rebuttals? How many presentations did you get on? How many dials did you get on? You're hanging around people that are going to help you. The people that are getting no results, they're not going to help you because they can't help themselves. So they're not going to help you. And it's going to be a negative conversation. So if you feel yourself in a negative state or you feel yourself with no results, go hit somebody up that is getting the results that you want. Don't go hit up somebody that's not getting any results because it's going to be a negative, disconnected conversation.
Amen, bro.
I could go on forever, so you better cut me off, dude.
I don't want to cut. I would love for you to go on forever, but we got Jay. I'm cheering you on, bro. It's awesome what you're doing. You're changing people's lives. You know, yours is um you're a shining star in a very unique industry, right? And it's great to see what you're doing. Your leaders, Jonathan, great to see him out in Vegas too. And just keep going, man. Just keep going. And what's your IG handle if they want to follow you?
Official J Maska, so official JAY Maska.
Bro, just keep growing, keep crushing. Grateful to
I
be
appreciate you, Grady.
more fun to come, bro. Everybody, sell, hire, develop. That's it. If you took anything away from here, that's your plan. Write it on your whiteboard. Sell period, high period, develop period. Those are things you're focused on. How many times? What did you do each week? Did you sell enough? Perfect. Did you hire enough? How many people have you been spend time developing? Make your tally marks. Wipe it out each week and start over. Keep going. So, James, give me the
Absolutely.
blueprint. Drop it in JM in the chat below. Show them some love. Pull it up. Matt,
Appreciate you, Grady.
appreciate you too, bro. Thanks for making it on. Talk soon.
Peace.